You're busy, you've got a decent practice, but nobody wants to be decent. You want to be great, and you want to have a great practice. So how did the most productive, profitable dentist in the nation balance real life, work, and profits, and somehow make it all seem fun? Well, it comes down to simple, everyday practices. So grab a lunch, join us as we chat with top clinicians and influencers to discover their formula for uncommon success. Are you ready? Then it's time to explore everyday practices with Vicki McManus-Peterson and Dr. Chad Johnson.
And here we are recording from BlueSky 2018, Chad.
Whoop, whoop.
Here in Scottsdale.
Yeah, and we have a guest for you guys.
Yes, we do. Because we're in Scottsdale, there's a really great friend of ours who lives just down the road. Dr. Mark Costas is in the house.
Hey guys,
Welcome.
How are you? Thank you so much for having us.
Good
This
to
is
see
fun.
you. And you have the invincible Miss Ashlee Evans with you.
Hello.
She is the COO, the Chief Operating Officer of your ever-growing empire.
Of my life.
And isn't that impressive?
She knows my life.
Yeah.
She knows more about my life than I do.
Sometimes.
I call her the GSD girl.
Get
Yes.
things done.
Stuff done.
Get stuff done.
Get stuff done.
Get stuff done.
Yep.
She does,
She
too.
does. She
Yeah.
does. So we're excited to have you here today. I have no idea where this is going to go.
Oh, good.
Um,
Neither do I.
But whenever you and I get together and chat,
Oh, it's magic.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Chad and I got our own little magic
Right.
going on, and
Yes.
Ashlee
I
is
think
just
we're an
like,
old married
like
couple.
I have these ideas, and she goes, I could do something with this.
Yeah.
And Reagan on our team is that way too. They're like, we could do something
Yep.
with this. So,
Congratulations on the new podcast. This is great.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's exciting. It's fun,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it has been. It's been engaging, and I'm just learning along the way too. That's kind of my goal is to let other people in on my learning experience, because
Yeah.
you know I sure have a lot of growth to accomplish. So
We all do.
yeah,
We all do.
yeah, glad to
Yeah.
have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why don't we jump in and take that as our jumping off point?
Okay.
Because we've been with you at Voices of Dentistry now for 2 years.
Yes, true.
Right? PDA's been there, but we're kind of on the sidelines. And I remember in January, I said, are you thinking that one day you might want to attract women to this conference?
Yes, you came right at me with that. That's right.
I was like, I see a lot of young
yeah.
male energy here. And you just kind of like blinked and went, oh, well, I guess there's not a lot of female podcasters. So you kind of like
It's true.
threw down the line and said, Vicki, if you want to see change, maybe you need to be part of the change. So I have to say thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Of course.
And
Thank you.
it was a gift, and I'm not really good at doing things on my own. So I found this wacky guy, and we're going to be with you. Chad's going to be on main stage here at Voices of Dentistry
Oh,
Exchange.
Oh,
I got it blocked off.
Right
Yeah.
on.
Yep, can't wait.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
So I know, it's a podcast, but why do you think the medium of podcasting is so important today? How do you see it growing and evolving, and how does a listener really know how to choose who to listen to? I mean, I know it's a free country
Yeah.
and all that, but it's like we had magazines, and there's a lot of internal filtering you have to do to figure out what articles you want to read. But how do you filter for podcasting, and what's going to bring value to your business? What's some podcast magic?
Yeah, so podcasting, I believe, has really, really gotten traction because it's such a convenient way to absorb content.
Right.
I look forward to my commutes now. I look forward to long plane flights now because I get to catch up with my podcasts.
Right.
Not just mine, but other people's. My favorite podcasts. There's so much great content out there, and you can multitask. You can literally, walk the dog, or work on the lab bench in dental school, which is why there's so many dental students that listen to podcasts.
Or the drive to work.
Or the drive to work, or the train, or the plane,
Dishes.
or do the
Mhm.
dishes, walking the dog. So I believe that's why podcasting has become so popular as a
Love that.
medium, even more so than short
So
video.
it's here to stay.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
I believe it is. I mean, when I started my podcast in 2015, there was 4 of us. It
Wow.
was Dr. Howard Ferran,
Yes.
Gary
Practice.
Takish, the Hacks,
Right?
and me, and David Maloli. So there's 5 of us
Wow.
in 2015, and now there's over
3
60.
years.
Over
3
60.
years. Yeah.
Well, when you started Voice of Dentistry, there were 34.
That's right.
That was
It's
just 2
doubled
years
since
ago.
it's doubled since our first Voices of Dentistry. So.
So now we do need a filter for content. How do you find your? I mean, you
Yeah,
just
that's a
other than
great
just like, let
question.
me go listen to 60 of them.
Right. I mean, I wish
Mhm.
I had a scientific answer. I am super attracted by titles, and then I'll give it one try. You know, I'll give it 5 or 10 minutes. If they capture my attention, then I'm in, and I'll give it a couple episodes, and if not, I just bounce on to the next. But
I gotcha.
I mean, I have ADD, so I can bounce from thing to thing to thing,
Right.
and that's kind of how I live my life. But I have my favorites. I like the non-dental ones I listen to are like Tim Ferriss and Joe Rogan. Hardcore History with Carlin. There's some really like base level podcasts that I listen to all the time. And
So do you have like Fab Four podcasts? Like
Yeah.
you have your Fab Four books?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
throw it down on us.
But it's
But
seasons.
probably rotates.
It's seasons. Yeah. Right now I'm kind of in this personal development kind of phase of my life. So I'm listening to a lot of like, well, Tim Ferriss is always good, but he gets a little long-winded sometimes. His episodes are 2.5 hours long.
Oh, right.
And Joe
deep
Rogan,
dive.
Joe Rogan's podcast is really funny, and he has really compelling guests on there. But those are 3 hours long plus,
And it can be a circus.
and it can be a circus.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes drug use and alcohol
Right.
use, which makes it funny towards
Tesla.
the end.
Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Elon Musk was smoking
Right.
marijuana.
Something.
Yes, which is
Something.
interesting. So yeah, those I like Tim Ferriss. I like Ed Milet has a great podcast. Who else do I listen to? I'm literally thinking. I do listen to the Dental Hacks often. I listen to the Bulletproof Dental podcast. My friends over there. I listen to the Better Dentistry podcast, which is Brian Stimler. That's a really good one. He's super funny as well.
Do you ever listen to them in fast forward? Like in
I don't, because
just go at
it
the
really
regular speed?
agitates my ADD.
I wondered if it actually make you focus more by doing a 1.5 or 1.25. I just was curious.
It agitates it. For some reason, it's counterintuitive, but for some reason I can't
I was
follow.
just curious.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, now I'm dropping the ball because I can't picture my playlist, but I listen to lots and lots of podcasts.
That's awesome. And if there's anybody, I just assumed, I doubt there's anyone in dentistry that doesn't know the name Dr. Mark Costas and the Dentalpreneur podcast, because you are global, you are worldwide. But for those who may be living on a rock and haven't heard about you, what is your current business structure? How do you go about things? Like, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so thank you. I don't know if I'm global. Well, I guess the podcast is global. We're in 150 countries,
Well,
about 100,000 downloads a month. So it's pretty big. But I think it's just first mover advantage, to tell you the truth. Like people that adopted podcasts years ago stuck with the first few that came out. But as far as our business structure, I do a lot of things. I'm a multiple practice owner. We have practices in California and Arizona. I have a coaching group. We call it a mastermind group of 100 plus clients from all over the United States and Canada, Europe, and Australia, and New Zealand.
what's that format look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's a little unique in that a lot of consulting groups, as you guys know, have a consultant that they assign to a practice, and then they send them out there, and then they maybe do a follow-up a few months later, and then another follow-up a few months later. So it's a lot of one-on-one, which is great, and there's a lot of value to that. I am of the belief that if you put your stable of clients in a room together, then magic happens.
Yeah.
So quarterly we meet as a group, and we have mastermind sessions where everybody has the opportunity to take the stage.
And are these in person then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll focus on that particular practice for a good 20, 25 minutes. And we'll move on to the next, and everybody gives their input, and we overcome the biggest challenges together as a group.
The round table of knights.
That's right. So we typically have over 1,000 years of collective dental experience in the room when we're solving problems. So in addition to the traditional, we have a coach that will go out to their location. Then we have monthly coaching calls, and we have a financial analyst that works with them on their numbers. But then the magic happens when we all get together. Yeah. So that's the format.
So Ashlee, you've not only stood witness to this, right? You are an owner in some of these dental practices. So you've got the experience of owner wisdom and your operations that take someone
Wisdom and scars.
And scars.
And scars.
Everyone learns from.
So
Yes. Battle wounds.
Yeah.
thinking
Exactly.
about your own leadership and the leadership that you see within Mark and the Dental Success Institute organization, what are some of your top pearls for success? You know, when you say, boy, if you can implement this, it really helps a lot.
You know, a couple things that I've taken away, and Mark spoke here today at the BlueSky event about vulnerability and admitting your weaknesses. By making yourself human as a leader, as just a person, will automatically help get you more respect than you know, when you're able to say, you know what, I don't know necessarily the right answer. What do you think? This is outside of my wheelhouse. Or just admitting like, hey, I'm not good at this particular thing. How can we figure out a solution to that? That vulnerability piece and being able to put your weaknesses out there as a leader helps your team respect you quite a bit more. And that's what Mark spoke on today. And
So are you saying the team sees through that facade?
yes, exactly. And at least it puts it out there to them so they know you're not.
That inner BS that Chad and I are living in?
Wait a minute.
People see through that bacon and eggs. I can't believe it.
Right.
That's
Your
that's
bacon's
great
looking a little
point.
thin.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What got you into dentistry yourself, Ashlee?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Random luck and chance and fate that the world put Mark and I together, and somehow we're able to read each other's minds. Like
Yeah.
somehow the
We
universe.
really can. It's
So there was a good connection at first.
Yeah, so I moved to Arizona and was just looking. I was looking for any position. I just needed a job.
Isn't that something?
Needed any position. He needed a personal assistant. I had like my bachelor's in anatomy and physiology, and he was like, you're overqualified for this. And I'm like, I'll do anything. Just tell me what to do. I'll get it done. And it just kind of snowballed from there into, hey, I need someone to do this. And I'm like, well, I could do that. Well, I could do that. Mostly I could just Google quicker than he could.
She could type faster than I could.
But, and
Well,
that's,
and you've got to think anybody who could graduate in anatomy and physiology, like you've memorized every
yeah.
cell in the body. Like you got to assume there's a degree of detail orientation.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That, you know, they talk about the difference between a visionary and an integrator.
Right.
I am a straight up visionary. I'm a starter. I love to conceive of things and get them going and hand them off.
And then
Okay.
she follows through.
She follows through.
That's
she
really cool.
she fills all the gaps that a visionary has. She is straight up integrator.
So it's so funny too. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I
no,
just
no.
have to tell the story of the podcast too. And I'm just owning it at this point. When Mark first came to me and said, I want to do a podcast, I was like, oh, Nikes. Like, this is another thing. It's going to be a thing. It's going to burn out. Nobody listens to podcasts, Mark, blah, blah, blah. You type, and this was my attitude towards the whole situation.
Late 2014.
A really good attitude.
Yeah. Very
Clearly,
positive.
it was all about this.
But the sooner you got it going, the sooner you could let it burn.
Exactly. I'm
So
like, yeah, I'm like, fine, we'll do it. It's done. All right. And then it's like, oh, look, now we have a very successful podcast. And I'm, always giving him a hard time. I'm like, that was a terrible idea. Why did we do that
Right.
podcast thing? Anyway.
that reminds me of when the Beatles went to the famous recording studio at the time, and they were like, guitar
Abbey
bands
Road.
are on the way down, and so that's kind of going out of style as guitar bands, and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, well, that didn't work out so hard. It was like
Again,
EMI or something like
Exactly.
that. At
I'm
the time.
not the visionary
Great
here.
prediction.
Yeah.
Right.
Right
So
on.
the theme of our podcast is really everyday practices, right?
Mhm.
And so what do you think that you guys do really well every day, or at least not every day? It's part of your routine. It's part of your DNA, the
The
metronome.
disciplines.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
disciplines that really make it work.
Yeah. So I think everyday rituals and habits start with solid systemization and planning.
Right.
That strategy, that 30,000 foot view is so important to take the time to do that periodically, and then really, really capture your vision in a bottle, and then reverse engineer what that looks like.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that takes physical form in systems and meetings and agendas and accountabilities.
So do you have
So-
checklists?
We have a ton of checklists. We have very, very structured meetings with agendas. We have very, very clear definitions for what success looks like. I talked about this on stage today. So it's making sure that your expectations are crystal clear, making sure that you have accountabilities in place to check up on making sure that those expectations are lived up to, right?
Yeah.
And also like creating the systems that help people get to their highest potential, right?
Love it.
All the resources necessary to get them to where they need to be, or where you expect them to be.
I love that. And have you found, because most dentists are, and hygienists and assistants, I mean, we're all the drivers of our career, right? And most of our listeners are solo doctors or small businesses, right? So if a hygienist is out, your entire division is down.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
So-
Our hygiene department's sick today.
Right, yeah, and
Right.
everybody's canceled, and
Right.
it's not like Ford Motor Company, and you've got a lineman out, so you put 4 more in,
Right.
right? So I think it's really important to like have that discipline in your personal life too. So what are your tips there? And in the beginning, was it easy, or were there some tricks to like get into good habits?
You know what? It's about accountability. And even like personal life or whatever. Example is I moved to Denver. I fully intended on finding like a new gym or a new yoga place. I'm not always good with new things too. Not always the best at going into new situations sometimes. And so I get a little timid and just, I've even like going to a new yoga class or something. But I had a friend who was like, hey, come to this class with me. And now I have an accountability partner and we join this gym and we go on these days and here's the classes we'll be at. And you're texting each other the night before. It's like, you're going to be there, right?
Yes.
If one of us hasn't heard from the other one, then it's holding the other one accountable. So that obviously flows through into business as well, personal versus in business. And it's kind of the same thing. Mark and I have a morning meeting every single day. And at the end of it, we both walk away with to-dos. He's given me my to-dos. I've given him his to-dos. Because even as a visionary, there's still things that need to be done.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we have morning meetings, and at the end of it, it's like, okay, what are my to-dos? And then I'm sending those to-dos to him and our other amazing assistant who prints them for him, and everyone's
Can check 'em
clear.
off.
Yeah, everyone's clear on what exactly needs to happen.
I just took a class. I'm doing neuro wisdom coaching right now,
Oh.
and so I want to bring
Oh,
in.
congratulations, by the way, on your graduation as well.
Thank
Miss,
you.
I know.
Dr. Vicky.
Dr.
Yes.
Vicky in the house.
To clarify, that's a doctor of spirituality, not of dentistry
Yeah.
at all.
We all need a doctor of
That's right.
spirituality in our lives.
Well, that's an interesting thing is part of the podcast that we're incorporating is not just talking about, so how do you drill a class 2 composite?
We don't care.
Like,
Who wants to talk about that?
Right. And there's maybe a place and a time for that, but we're also looking at the whole picture, not just what happens in the walls for that solo practitioner. But you brought it up in lecture this morning. How are you taking care of your family and yourself, and how are you clearing your headspace and everything like that? So, I want to know for not just your business day, but to explain kind of what you alluded to in the lecture. How's the rest of it? How do you structure your playtime, and how do you structure,
start
your family?
day?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff like
that's the answer. That's how I start my day. It's the morning ritual that I put together,
Mhm.
So if you guys can picture a quadrant, there's 4 M's. There's mind, meaning, movement or muscle, and the last one is money. Intentionally, the last one is money. Because if you can master the other 3, then money will happen. It will manifest itself in your life. So I try to get those things out of the way as early as possible in the day. I'm an early riser and a short sleeper. I always have been. I don't know if it's healthy for me, but I don't need more than 5 hours of sleep. So I typically get up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I have a mindfulness routine that involves guided meditation. I use the Calm app for that. That usually takes 10 to 13 minutes. And I go right into my movement phase, which is usually no longer than a 15, 16-minute workout in my gym.
Good for you.
Super high intensity. Yeah, exactly. Super high intensity interval training.
Yeah.
I use Tabata workouts for that, and I have free weights in my gym. And then I go into something with my mindfulness routine is also gratitude. We work gratitude into that as well. And then I do something creative. I either write a chapter in my book, or I write an outline for a future podcast coming up, or I draft an email, or do something creative, and then I start my day after that. So I've checked off
And then he calls
3
Ashlee.
things. Then I
Yeah.
call Ashlee.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause right here
Do it.
because you and I can be so curious.
I
and we
know.
can just move, but I want you to just breathe this in, right? So if you've ever thought, I want to have an empire like Mark Costas, right? Or I want to just be more successful in my own life here. The secrets are right there, right? So entrepreneurs that are successful wake up earlier than everybody else. They take care of themselves first. It's like the airlines, put on your mask and then go help the world. So you've really structured that for yourself. And Ashlee, you gave us the killer of all mother pearls, which was to have an accountability partner. Because I don't know about you, but the best way to know that everybody's a liar is to try to hold yourself accountable sometimes in the beginning.
yeah.
Because I will lie, I will cheat, I will steal. I can justify getting out of, I'll go to yoga tomorrow.
Yeah.
Girlfriend, I'm an enabler
Right.
at heart.
I am an enabler. I will
Yeah,
enable
you want
myself.
3 cookies? Why not 6?
You deserved it.
I walked
you know?
around
You
the
worked
block.
hard
That's the
today.
same
I
thing.
know.
Yeah.
So my deserve cycle can kick in, and it'll kick out my good intentions. So it's beyond good intention. The everyday practice is practicing those muscles and getting beyond the good intentions and getting into action and then making it public. You guys are each other's accountability partners. You have your wife, you have your girlfriends, you have not wife and girlfriends, but she has, that didn't come out right.
You meant girlfriend.
Yeah, like I'm Chance, girlfriend.
Girlfriend, what's up?
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So this podcast could like end right here because you have given us your secret sauce, right? You've got your 4. Tell us your
The
your,
secrets
your
aren't
4.
secrets, they're disciplines.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
That's
right.
That's a great
Yes.
way to
That's
say
The
it.
right.
secrets are discipline. So tell us again your 4 quadrants of
Yeah, it's mindfulness, mind,
yes.
meaning, which encompasses the legacy that you want to leave, the footprint that you want to leave on this earth, how you're making the world a better place every day, and like a legacy that will last beyond your years.
And your relationships.
And your relationships, which is huge, right?
Right.
And then movement is longevity. How
Right.
long are you going to be on this planet? What type of fuel are you putting into your body? What type of habits do you have as far as activity and exercise? And then the last one is money. So if you focus on all 3 of those first, and meaning for me being taking care of those relationships, you're defining your non-negotiables. Those go into your schedule. And then the money part flows in wherever it fits because it's the least important of all of it as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I love that. And to support what you're saying about movement and longevity, we've been working with Brad Bale and Amy Doneen for a number of years. They wrote the authors of Beat the Heart Attack Gene. And they say one of the most important things you can do is 20 minutes of exercise every day.
Right.
So a brisk walk, it doesn't have to be high intensity or anything like that. But
No
when you're
Ironman.
no Ironman.
Yeah, it doesn't
But-
have to be.
Yeah, because it keeps your smooth muscle tone. And with that smooth muscle tone, you're taking care of your arterial system, and your arterial system is what connects everything in the body. So you're getting so much when you do that workout. I'll have to say, maybe, no, you can't be my accountability partner. You
No.
won't be tough enough on
Go ahead and take the day off.
Yeah, I'm gonna have that extra cookie. But that's something that you're reminding me. I need to get that more into my routine because epigenetically, you turn on parts of your brain through exercise that you can't get through vitamins. You can't get it through any other
Right.
way
I
except
thought that was really interesting in your
exercise.
book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool,
it
wasn't it?
was.
I got to read that.
Uh-huh.
So to be totally honest, I stole Mark's copy and I read it.
Yeah,
So because
see?
he couldn't
It's not my
find.
fault.
I just stole his copy.
That's all right. I'm writing a chapter a day, and I'm getting ready to do my next book. You can just catch
Okay, good.
You'll catch that one on the
Can I
download.
give a quick tip as
Tell
far as
us.
the
No.
the 4 features? Okay, so the 4 features. The easiest way to track that is if you can imagine a list. We actually have scorecards for our clients. So you have mind, meaning, muscle, and money.
Right.
Right? Or muscle or movement, right? So you have 4 of those. And you have Monday to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you're thinking about a grid here, right? You give yourself a score of a 1 or a 0 for every single day.
Yes.
So every day, our accountability partners are saying, what was your 4 score today? So you either get a 1 for mindfulness if you did one thing for mindfulness. You get a 1 or a 0 for meaning. You get a 1 or a 0 for movement.
Yes.
You get a 1 or a 0 for money.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, you have a score from 0 to 4. At the end of the week, you have a score of 0 to 28. So
Yes.
our accountability partners are always texting back and forth.
What's your
What was
score?
your 4 score? What was your week score?
Let me ask, in the money sector,
Mhm.
they score a 1 or a 0. Is that, hey, you made money today, or is it you were a good manager with the money that you were, what
Yeah.
does
That's a
that
great
involve stordship, or is
That's
it
a
just
great
like, hey, I
question.
made money?
So below on that worksheet, we have what day it is and what we're actually working on.
Oh,
So
no
if you-
kidding.
If you have a daily goal, so today my daily goal for money would be contact my financial advisor
Yes.
and
All right.
figure out what my percentage of whatever is and produce this much next year.
Yes.
So you get a 1 or 0.
Yes.
And if you want to focus only on personal finance on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and only the business on the rest of the days, then you redefine what that 1 or 0 parameter is for that particular day.
that works in with your massive mega
Yes.
micromanaging Google Calendar.
Yes,
So
I love.
you could just go in and say, and
Yes,
then it
I need to
pops
talk
up.
to you about Google
So then you would
Yeah.
know. So then you would know what your goal is for your day and
Yes.
your money. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you set the bar intentionally low until you get a bunch of
Yes.
momentum going, right? So our clients are like, God, I've never done a mindfulness practice. I said, 1 minute. 1 minute. You could. We did it. When we meditated together as a group. There's 75 people. We did a 3-minute meditation, and that was for half the room. That was the first time they've ever tried a guided meditation, and they were like, "That was incredible."
Yeah.
3 minutes.
It's easy.
Right.
That's set the bar really low. So
Well, I'll tell
they
you
all got a
why.
1 for that day on that.
Have you ever noticed when people say, "Let's have a moment of silence"? There it was, and it's like we can't. I count these days. I count when people
What's a
say we're
moment?
going to have a moment of silence, and I'm going 1,000, 2, 1,000. That was 4 seconds that they waited. You know,
Yeah.
we have a tough time being silent
Yeah.
within
Oh,
ourselves.
so true.
Totally.
So true. It's when all the demons come out.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that we could talk forever.
right.
Because we do. We almost forgot we were on a podcast.
I know,
We're having
right?
so much fun. So there's
Okay.
one question that we ask all of our guests.
I'm
we
nervous.
will,
I'm nervous about this.
we will not explain what it means or anything like that.
Okay.
But
Ashley,
Ed,
you're going to go first,
Okay.
and
Yes.
then you immediately after, because it's the same question. Okay,
I'm so nervous.
bacon or eggs?
Oh, bacon.
Eggs.
Okay, there we
There you
have it.
have it.
I'm a pescatarian. I don't eat any. I don't eat,
Oh, okay.
I
I
eat,
eat pork
I
and
eat
chicken.
all of
Right
the
on.
pigs that Mark doesn't.
She
All
does.
right. So thank you so much for being with us here
Thank you guys
today.
so much.
It's always great to understand what high achievers really do in their everyday practice.
Bring your lunch or take us to the gym again next week to improve your everyday practices. Also, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, and sign up for our email list. Now get out there and win with everyday practices.